Hey guys, today I thought I would share with you some of my knowledge in the crochet world. I've actually been wanting to do a crochet series for a little while, so I thought, what better time to do it? Um, the number one thing that I hear people say hinders them from crocheting is that they have so much trouble reading a pattern, like a written pattern. Um, so I'm going to try to walk you through that, and hopefully it won't be as intimidating as it looks on paper. You have to understand there are two different kinds of patterns that are used. The most common one is the one that we'll go over first, and it's an actual written pattern with abbreviations and parentheses, and I'm not sure if the one that I'm doing has parentheses or not. I can't remember, but we'll see in a second. And like things like that. And then there's I think it's called a diagram pattern. Some people call it a symbol pattern, but it's the one that has like it's like a drawing of the pattern, and it has different symbols for the stitches. And they're laid out in the way the pattern will look. Honestly, I think the hardest part about reading a pattern for the written, it's to understand the way it's laid out, and then knowing what the abbreviations mean. Once you've got that down, it's really simple. And then for the diagram, the hardest part, honestly, is just knowing what the symbols mean. After that, it's like there's no trouble at all. So I do highly recommend you get a key, which I will show you in just a second. And I will link below where I got them from. But anyway, so let's get on with it. Alright, so we're going to start with the written pattern since it is the most popular. To start in reading a written pattern, it is so very useful to have a key for the abbreviations. I got mine, like I said, from a book from Walmart. It was like Teach Yourself to Crochet or something. But one of my favorite resources for crochet is the Moogly blog, which I will link below. And she has an amazing abbreviations key. Some of them I didn't even know until I read her blog. It's like 3 or 4 pages long, so I'm not going to read through all of them, especially since my pattern actually lists the abbreviations, but it is super, super, super detailed. She's got a lot of good resources on her website as well. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you check her website out as well. Alright, so let's go over the pattern. You do have the difficulty level. Not all of them will have it listed. It just depends on who wrote the pattern, how often they write a pattern, you know, how detailed they're gonna be. It really depends on the creator of the pattern. But most decent crochet patterns will have your difficulty level. Occasionally it'll tell what'll be in there beside the difficulty level. It should give finished measurements somewhere around there. It'll tell you what materials you'll need, your yarn, your hook, stitch marker, needles, so on and so forth. Abbreviations, like I said, not every pattern, even well-written patterns, don't always have this. But it's super nice when they do, because then, you know, you don't have to worry about that. So CH is chain, DC double crochet, DC to TOG is decreasing 2 stitches with double crochet, or double crochet 2 together is how I learned it, which is basically the same thing. Slip stitch is SLST, BEG is beginning. Obviously that's with most everybody knows that, I think. And then the stars repeat between. So I guess this one does kind of have it. Normally these would be parentheses, not stars. And we'll go over that in a second. And then in the brackets, it'll say your total number of stitches for that row or round will be this many. And that's why it lists that. A lot of people find that confusing too, but I find it super, super helpful, because sometimes it'll say that you have to do like this many of one stitch, then you have to decrease here, then you have to increase here or whatever, and then you're like, how many stitches am I supposed to end up with so that I know and I can count easily? And not every one of them has that, so when they have it, it's super helpful for me because I lose count super easy, even with the markers. And then your gauge, which is super helpful for me as well because apparently I crochet tight, so the gauge for me helps a lot. And it'll tell you how it's supposed to measure for how much, like how many stitches are supposed to be how much in length or width or whatever height. And then sometimes it'll have some notes. And then you go on to the instructions. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can bring it up a little closer. Hold on. Okay. My camera angles are hard, sorry. All right. So here you have chain 6 and join with a slip stitch to the beginning, chain 4. You do have some parentheses, but I don't think it's actually do this from here to here. This is just telling you to count as 1 double crochet and 1 chain for your chain 4. And then and these stars would usually be parentheses in a pattern. Make 1 double crochet and 1 chain. 11 times in the ring, to the ring. So you would do 1 double crochet and 1 chain, and that's your 1 stitch, and you do that 11 times around, and then at the end you'll join with a slip stitch to the top of the first chain 3, and it'll be a total of 24 stitches all together for that round. I hope that makes sense. And then you'll go on to round 2 and 3 and blah, blah, blah. By the way, this is just a pattern for a simple beret.
Mama, drop your sticky tack.
We'll pick it up.
I did pick it up.
Okay. Sorry. And then sometimes they'll have little notes and it'll tell you how to finish. And then this one has an alternate finish actually, which I like. And then maybe something, you know, happy crochet, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the hardest part of reading a written crochet pattern, like I said, is knowing the abbreviations and knowing how to read the parentheses and how to do them in your pattern, like as you're crocheting. And once you've got that, reading a written pattern is like a breeze. You'll have no trouble. So if you do have any more trouble, please let me know in the comments and I would be more than happy to give a more in-depth look at that one. And now we'll go on to the diagram pattern. So just like the written pattern, I recommend finding a key. This one I found on yarnstandards.com. I did look on Moogly blog. She did have like a couple of posts on diagrams, but not a lot. And I think one of them was like a link to a Craftsy course, which sounds super awesome and I might take it one day, but I'm not sure. Because like I said, the only thing that I really truly have trouble with is just reading the symbols. And since I have this, I think it's just gonna take a little bit of work. Anyway, so you would look at the symbols, just like a crochet pattern, you know the abbreviations. This one would be the chain. The dot is the slip stitch. X or a T, sometimes a single crochet. It really depends on who writes the pattern because both are used as a symbol for single crochet. The T is a half double crochet, and then the double crochet, and so on and so forth. Again, I'm not going to go through it all, but the resource that I found this one at is yarnstandards.com. Actually, I just Googled diagram key for crochet, and this one came up, and I went to their website, and they have a downloadable PDF of this key. Sorry, I drew a blank. But anyway, so we're going to go over how you would actually implement this into this and actually crochet with it. So this is what the pattern would look like, which is super pretty, by the way. I think you could probably make just about anything with it. So you would start here at the foundation row, which obviously is a chain. You would chain however many are listed. I'm not going to count them out. I'm sorry, guys. And then you would chain 1 here at the end. So I guess it would actually go this way. See, I'm left-handed, so everything for me would go this way, and apparently everything for everybody else goes this way. So sorry, I'm a little backwards. But you would finish this chain, however many is there, or however many you want, I suppose. And then you would chain 1, and then you would single crochet all the way up here. Then you would chain 1. Then you would do a, what is the little T? Another single crochet. I'm sorry, I'm half asleep. And then you would chain this many and do another single crochet, chain this many and do another single crochet, chain, blah, 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 blah. Then you would chain 3, and you would do this many double crochet in your loop, not in a stitch. It's super easy to see that in this picture. You can see my hands. You see how they're not actually crocheting into a stitch, they're crocheting into the loop, and that's what that is. And then you would chain and single and then chain and double, and so on and so forth. So it's actually really super simple once you know what each symbol is for. And so with that, I'm gonna leave you to that. Again, if you have any trouble at all and would like more in-depth like tutorial on reading it, I'd be more than happy to take a yarn and hook and walk you through it that way. Okay, anyway, that's all I have today for reading a crochet pattern. I know it was super brief and super to the point. If you are having any more trouble, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to help you out with that. I do plan to, in the near future, start a series on crochet and how to stitch each individual stitch. I may or may not do 1 or 2 stitches per video, I'm not sure. But so be on the lookout for that, and if you'd like to get notified for that, hit the subscribe button, or just check back periodically. But anyway, so that's all I have for today. Until next time, bye guys!